Hey guys, my name is Thais Ferreira, and this is my informal presentation for my final project. And I chose to do option 3, which was the continuation of the statistics for mere mortals. So with that being said, I followed through the video series and finished them all out. And with that, I will share that my experience was very positive. I've always enjoyed statistics since my undergrad, being on a cognitive research lab. I was always dealing with statistics and the different tests. So I had a lot of practice there, along with several statistics courses that I did. But obviously that was years ago, and it was quite some time since I've done a t-test or computing an R-value. So this was a really nice refresher and a solidifier of that prior knowledge that I've already had. It was challenging at times with the concepts, but overall, I thought it was a great experience and it strengthened my statistical skills along with the interpretation of the results. And on the flip side, I did identified 4 articles that had those statistical tests, and I summarized all of them in their own entry, which you can find in the discussions board. And I do want to say that part was a little bit more challenging because I really wanted to be specific with the topic of my research articles. They all relate to adult education, but I really wanted it to pertain to corporate learning, manufacturing if possible, digital learning, learning culture, and incorporating technologies into a corporate culture. So all of that, like change management and everything, and those effects on worker response. So it was quite hard to find those specific articles along with matching the statistical tests we've been focused on, but I did it, and I found 4 really great articles that relate a lot to my daily work. So it was really fascinating to read, and it was even more cool because I got to read these articles through a different lens. So focused on the actual data collection, the data analysis, and the research design that they followed. So I don't usually do that. When I read a research article, I'm looking for the connections, right? Like what are the findings? But I'm not really worried about how did they get there. But that was what was really different about this project, is that it made me look at a research article in a different light, which now I think will hopefully stick to me and will make sense. When someone is talking about an independent t-test, then I will know what they're talking about versus if they have an ANOVA test, or if they're talking about Pearson correlation coefficient. So that was a really cool point. And one of the studies I want to highlight that I found was called The Impact of Learning Culture on Worker Response to New Technology. And that was by a guy named Reardon. That's his last name. And I thought it was really cool because he wanted to see what workers' responses, these workers were shop floor workers in a manufacturing industry in southern United States, in Texas, what their responses were to new technologies that were brought onto the plant based on if they had a strong learning culture in their organization. So he used the Pearson correlation coefficient to measure that relationship, and he actually found a strong negative correlation between learning culture and disgruntlement, and that was one of the negative worker reactions that he identified. So obviously that indicates a strong learning culture is associated with less worker dissatisfaction and less negative reactions to new technologies being brought in. So that kind of strengthens the message of having a strong learning culture is really beneficial to the organization, to its people, to the success of the organization, right? So that was a cool article because I work in manufacturing industry, specifically aluminum, and obviously I'm not on the shop floor, but it's really interesting to see a research study about it, because you always wonder, right? Like working in learning and development from the corporate office, that you're making learning and development opportunities for folks that are on the shop floor. It's completely different environment, completely different emotions and way of work. So, and that was a cool article that used something like correlation coefficient that we all probably know so much, those of us that chose to do option 3, in practice. So this project overall was a really interesting experience for me, and I thought it was really beneficial for my personal growth. So I really enjoyed it, and I have enjoyed this semester with you all. So I hope this video sums up what I've learned and my experiences with this project. Thanks for watching.